The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Okay, so we're back on the BDE. That's the weirdest start to every show. Like, okay, so we're back on this and we're back on that. But we're back on the BDE on the Realm Network. That's for Mark. I always say that's my producer. And I go Realm and I give him my radio voice because I have a vase. A vase? I don't have a vase. Vase needs flowers. I have a voice. I have a voice for radio. But unfortunately, this is a video podcast. So the irony is, Realm Network, you get to see me all the time. This is Turning Point. And I started this Turning Point because people have been asking for a show where when's Bill going to talk about wrestling? When is Bill going to get down and dirty and give us the behind the scenes and give us the dirt and let's throw some shots and let's talk wrestling and let's hear Bill's opinions? Well, this is it. Turning Point. I did a show called Velocity many moons ago, in the WWE, and I was with a young Josh Matthews. I say that all the time. Although he's still young, I get to say he's older. And we did a show called Turning Point. And a part of the show is where I did the John Madden, and I drew the lines, and if he would just jump here, and if she'd get out of the way there, and you see, this is the turning point in the match. This is the turning point in the podcast. So this is going to be a wrestling-oriented part of the Bill DeMott experience. So there's no better way. I had Chase Stevens on my inaugural Turning Point as he starts his new up-and-coming federation in the Tennessee area. But this guest here, we go back and to some of these kids these days, it's back in the day. This kid probably comes as close as back in the day, although it's only been a short 5 years. It seems like a lifetime. He was on Tough Enough, by the way, the number one rated show on USA at the time, that Tough Enough, not the recent Tough Enough, the one Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hall of Famer, Booker T, Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus, my favorite roommate ever, Hall of Famer, and then little old me. Well, little old me had a chance to spend 3 solid months with this cat. He's all over the place. He's probably one of the most positive kids I've ever met. Now, he could be in his late 20s, early 30s, still a kid, because I, of course, was born in 1950, and I'm older than him. So I want to welcome, after this long tirade about Turning Point, my guest, AJ Kirsch, a.k.a. Tumbleweed. Welcome to the BDE.
Thank you for having me, Bill. It's been a long time since anybody's called me Tumbleweed, but I guess if anybody's going to do it, I'd want it to be you.
Well, the funny part about that name was, as you know, I meet people and I give them a nickname, and it's usually for one of two reasons: to remember them, or because that's the first impression. And Tumbleweed, although I'd like to take the credit for it, it came from Stone Cold. He goes, "That kid looks like a tumbleweed."
Well, I'm thank God it wasn't skid marks or something. I mean, like it was given to me because I was in the roles in the beginning of Tough Enough. I was just nailing them, which was I'm very thankful that it was given to me out of a positive impression rather than something like skid marks, which I mean, all due respect to Ryan, like I hear he's killing it too, but like. That's a rough nickname. It's hard to come back from a nickname like skid marks.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to come back from it. And I've spoken to Ryan and had a chance to see him over the years, and he is killing. He's doing good. And that's my whole thing. As long as you're doing what you love and you have fun doing it. And skid marks, after speaking with Ryan after the show, actually got him booked for more because he became infamous for that name.
Right. And that's something that I actually really appreciate about you and Trish and Steve, like keeping in touch with us after the show. It wasn't just like, okay, hope you had fun, hope you learned something, like best of luck in your future endeavors. Like, I really appreciate the fact that as busy as all of you are, you still took the time to let us pick your brain, text you from time to time, asking advice. And, to this day, it's one of the reasons that I will always be eternally thankful to you and all the trainers and everyone else involved for my time on Tough Enough. That was, no pun intended, a turning point for me in my career, both in wrestling and out of wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that people miss, and in this time, and as well as I do, in this time of social media, which is a big thorn in my side. I always say it's a double-edged sword, but in this time of social media, I don't think people really appreciate what you guys went through, and the fact that we didn't just shoot a half hour's worth of TV with you and then just walk away. We all lived together for lack of a better term for 3+ months.
Yeah.
Went through the journey, are still going through the journey together, and still having an opportunity to talk to 99% of everyone who I've ever dealt with in Tough Enough. And because it's real, it's a show, but I'd like to say the last one we did together was right before reality TV really became reality TV, and they scripted it a little bit and things like that. We got to where we wanted to get organically, but I think people need to know that. And you're one of the cats who said that and spread that message that we weren't just there for 30 minutes a day. We're kind of in it for the long haul, but it's a tribute to the cats. I say cats, meaning both guys and girls,
right.
But tribute to all of you who stuck with it and knew that we weren't just there to make your lives miserable or give you a crappy nickname or anything else. Everybody on that show became relevant in the world of sports entertainment.
Yeah, and that is something that in every interview I've done, I've been like, look, 95% of what you saw on Tough Enough is exactly how it happened, as it happened. Like, there was not a lot of, post-production manipulation or guiding of the storyline. Like, that was, reality TV gets I don't know if it's a bad rap. It's not necessarily inaccurate because I've done other reality TV, and there were points where it's like, we're not going to tell you what to do, but here's what we want to see. And Tough Enough was as organic as it gets. Yeah.
And it started for myself. I know Steve and Trish was up doing her thing, and every day started at 5 a.m. because we had to go train, not with you guys. We had to get our training in prior to it, and we ran into you guys from time to time, but it was organic, and we got to know each other, and it was some classic TV.
Yeah, it was. And those moments that took place that the camera caught were like as organic as it gets. Like, it wasn't, hey, we're going to do this and then we're going to do this. It was, it was real for like I said, 95% of how it went, it was real.
Yeah, and it was a keeper because I remember, all those guys, Doug and everybody, and they're looking at it going,
yeah.
They couldn't believe what was happening. And Steve and I would have that conversation all the time at the end. Holy shit, dude. That totally went south, or that was so much better than we expected, or man, we can give them more. Let's do this. And it was just it was a good time, and it was a good group of people.
Yeah, it was. Everybody was so different, and clashing styles and different histories with wrestling, some with none at all.
Right.
And I see that you lost me on camera. I'm working on it on my end.
That's okay. Yeah. But we'll recap everybody who's not in touch with the Tough Enough series. You had Jeremiah and I have kept in contact and had some opportunities. You had Miss USA.
Yep. Rima
at the time, who everybody went, myself included, I went, oh man, what are we going to do with Miss USA? And she was a tough chick, and everything that was shown of her, I think, was done right, because like we just said, it was real. You couldn't manipulate it, and whatever happened, and she hung tough for as long as she could.
For somebody who had never stepped foot in a ring, taken a bump, or even, I think that she was the one who face planted on her first attempt at a forward roll. Like, she stuck in it a lot longer than I think anybody would have anticipated. And, to her credit.
To the honesty of the show, anywhere else nowadays, you couldn't laugh at that. And I about peed my pants every time I saw somebody try to do something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a great little crew. It was a good season. And the thing about you, and why I always gravitate towards you and Martin and some of the other guys and the girls that I still talk to, is because you're still out there doing it, man. You didn't take it as, well, I got treated like crap, I deserved more, or all these other things. And here's the one thing you did do, which I appreciated more than anything, as a coach, when you showed up at that performance center for another tryout, and you're picking Stone Cold's brain, and you're getting in touch with Trish, and when you run into Booker, when you run into anybody, you're taking notes, and you're Cauliflower Alley, and you're a fan of the business.
Oh, yeah.
Visit VinceRussoBrand.com to sign up for exclusive VIP content. You get over 20 new video shows monthly, including Vixens Who Rule and The Swerve, where Vince Russo interviews stars in wrestling and beyond. Listen to Vince and Jeff Lane discuss weekly news and rumors and review Attitude Era Raws. Also, watch the cult hit Bucket Full of Chicken next. Go to VinceRussoBrand.com and click the red subscribe button to join now.